Hi guys, and welcome to Raina Unfinished. Today we are going to be talking about how 2025 was just the beginning of a Bad Girl rebrand. Okay, in 2026 we will be rebuilding with intention on this channel. Okay, stay tuned. See, here's the thing. Last year, when I finally settled into my teaching career and I thought I had everything that I wanted, everything, I had it all. I looked around and I felt like I could not allow this to be my life for the rest of my life. So believe it or not, 3 months into 2025, and I knew that I was gonna have to make a change to get the life that I want. So stay tuned to see what changes I believe I made or will be continuing to make in 2025. Now, the first thing that I felt like was super important to incorporate in my year of 2026 is intentional energy. Stay with me because I am still learning every single day that I don't have to give myself to people. You don't deserve access to me. That is something that I permit. I give permission for people to be in my energy, in my space, and in my life. So in 2026, the first thing we'll be doing is checking for anyone who costs us our peace. If they cost us our peace, okay, if they do anything that hurts us, we're out of there. I'm out of there. Let me tell you, in 2026, I will be prioritizing 3 things. That is joy, compassion, and love in each one of my relationships. Joy, compassion, love. And if the people around me are not able to give me that love and they're not able to give me compassion and we don't have a joyous time when we spend time together, then you're out. You're out in 2026. I want a peaceful, fun, joyous life. Okay? So anyone who's offering anything aside from that is out. Okay? Out. So this year for 2026, this is not a new year, new me moment. No, this is an intentional rebuild. So let's discuss what I think is worth keeping, what habits I will be releasing and leaving in 2025, and how I will be moving differently in 2026. The next thing that I'm going to require in my year of 2026 is an intentional mindset. Okay, moving with intention in my mind. I have to release all those beliefs that held me back and wouldn't allow me to be who I wanted to be or do what I want to do. So I have to release those things. I have to let those things go so that I can prioritize my health, my growth, myself. In order to do that, I have to just let go of any belief that is holding me back. For example, sometimes it's hard to believe that you can change your own life. You know, it just feels like you're kind of in what you're in. But if you go ahead and release those beliefs, those limiting beliefs that, oh, I can only be this or I can only do this, blah, blah, and trust me, I'm standing right there in the middle of it with you guys as well. Trust me. But you have to release those. You have to let that go so that you can build something new. So for example, some of the new narratives that I have to tell myself is things like, I make friends super duper easy and I can expect to be in relationship with all of my friends for a super long time. So that's just something that, I tell myself when I'm around new people so that I can tell myself like, oh, it's easier to make friends. I have tons of friends. I can do it again. Whereas, in the past, it would be difficult for me to reach out and really be honest about the way that I'm feeling. And that's just, or not the way that I'm feeling, but it will be difficult for me to reach out and open up to new people and get to know new people because it's just so overwhelming for me to meet new people. And I know a lot of you guys can relate to that. So in 2026, I'm telling myself, I have tons of friends. I have loads of friends and I always spend time with my friends. And it's not that I don't have tons of friends or loads of friends, but it's just more so like just the doubt, the fear that I kind of experience when I'm dealing with new people. Now, the last point of what I want to work to be intentional in is my alignment. I really, really, really want to be aligned in 2026. And any of my friends, family, anyone that I really deal with or I'm close to will tell you, as we even approach 2026, late 2025, I was saying that I want to be aligned. I want to be aligned. I want to be aligned. So this year, I really want to prioritize intentional alignment. And there are several ways to do that. For me, the first thing I want to be aligned with are my values. Okay, I realized pretty late in life, I feel I'm 27, but I feel like it's late in life to realize that your values kind of determine your choices. So it takes some time and some thoughts, but people really should take more time to sit down and think about what they value. For me, I value my family. I value my pets. I value my friends. I value students that I have, but I have values, okay? And those values that I believe in help me to make day-to-day decisions, okay? And it took me a while to kind of compile that list because it took me so long to realize that list matters. So I definitely encourage everyone to take a moment to kind of think about, like, what do you value? What is important to you in your life, to make sure that you're in alignment with those things and that you're always, okay, that you're keeping those things at the forefront of your mind. A book that I recommend to help you kind of get through those values is actually The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins. High Five Habit is kind of like you have 5 little habits that are just things that you feel are the habits every day. And those 5 habits will get you where you want to be. For me, one of my top 5 habits is actually compassion. I know in the past that I've lacked compassion, but like I said, value my friends. I value my family. I value my students. And I could never understand why they didn't get how much I cared, even though I wasn't always saying it. But then I had to realize, because when I am talking to them, a lot of times I'm not really trying to be compassionate. I'm not trying to consider how they're feeling. I'm not trying to open up to them. I'm not trying to hear how they're opening up to me. I more so was closing myself off and ignoring the fact that I value in a companionship that we have compassion and love between one another. So values, super important. The next thing I would say is super important is how I want to feel. In my alignment, I definitely need to be aligned with how I want to feel. I don't want any man, any friend, any sibling. I don't want anyone around who makes me feel bad, because yes, I make mistakes, but I also do a lot of things that I feel like make other people feel better and be better. So respecting that I do that, I would hope that people who are, in these relationships with me are seeing how much I'm trying to be a giver, and, I'm trying to be in these relationships. And so so the way that they treat me will let me know if we're in alignment in those relationships. And, those relationships, which is my third point, if they understand how I feel and, what my values are, then those relationships will be aligned, because they'll respect what I'm trying to do in my life. And, they'll either want to be a part of it or they won't. And that will allow me to, leave that relationship because we're out of alignment, Another thing that I know is super important when you're trying to protect your energy or keep intentional energy in is to prioritize rest, okay? Prioritize rest, prioritize your peace. If you know that you typically don't even get close to 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night, prioritize yourself. Have boundaries around yourself, your time, and what you like to do. And lastly, to protect your intentional energy, you want to incorporate and require peace. Anybody who doesn't want to have peace or doesn't respect a calm, peaceful conversation, a calm, peaceful interaction, they're out. They're out for us in 2026. My next point is along with my new narratives, of course, everyone needs to have new narratives with your intentional mindset. The last thing that you need to incorporate with your intentional mindset is affirmations. And trust me, I get it. I remember when I first started therapy and my therapist was trying to get me to do affirmations, and I was like, what are we doing that for? What are we doing that for? Look in the mirror. Ooh, you're so this, you're so that. It does feel like dumb. It does. And I know that, any therapist will probably agree with you that it does probably feel a little uncomfortable and dumb. But one thing that I kind of had to realize as a part of my intentional mindset, and especially a part of like my affirmations, is that when I'm having all of these thoughts and feelings and I'm doing all of these things, I never get to picture or see myself from the outside. I hope that makes sense. But like when I'm standing and I'm doing something, I rarely ever picture myself doing it. And that kind of helps me to just understand that I don't see myself. I don't acknowledge myself. And affirmations and self-talk, they kind of go hand in hand in helping you see yourself. It helps you to see yourself. So I love to focus on self-talk, little things that I'm saying to myself in passing. And I like to catch the things that are completely inappropriate or things that aren't aligned with me, things that aren't okay with, who I am on the inside. And then I couple those with affirmations, So if I'm at work one day and I'm like, ugh, I just completely suck. I'm not doing what I want to do. And it's frustrating me. An example. Right now I'm taking a course on Coursera. I definitely recommend it if you haven't yet. I love getting the little certificates. It makes me feel so accomplished. So I'm taking my course on Coursera, and sometimes it's really hard for me to get started. I get frustrated with myself. I talk myself down. Sometimes I tell myself, oh, you could do it later, or can you really do it at all? But that kind of self-talk is what teaches you to quit or to not even start sometimes. So it's important to kind of tell yourself like, okay, we can do this. We can do this. I didn't get to the course on time, but I'm gonna do it in an hour. I'm gonna give myself 45 minutes today. Just kind of talk to yourself, affirm yourself, and let yourself know like, I'm not quitting on myself. I'm not giving up on me. I just need to shift the time that I can do it, or I need to figure out what works best for me. But it's not dumb to have affirmations, It's really not. Especially if you have like a specific weak point. For me, back to the class thing, telling myself, ooh, I just don't want to do this right now. I really don't want to do school, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to help me. But the affirmations will let me know like, hey, this is going to help you get where you need to go. And you're intelligent enough to make it happen, because there are beliefs underneath that will stop one from pushing forward and kind of doing whatever the skill is they want to do. So as you're going through your life and you're deciding what beliefs you're going to be releasing, what you're going to let go, another important thing to think about is what are the new narratives that you're going to be telling yourself. Okay. Now for me, of course, I have limiting beliefs tied to all type of narratives that I've had. But in 2026, I have to move those narratives to the side so that what I believe and what I want can come true. For example, so guys, just remember, this season, I, as in you, are no longer counting yourself out before it's over. Put in the effort and believe the success will come to you, because you are focusing on your mindset. You're focusing on your alignment, and you're focusing on doing everything intentionally. So this season for 2026, just know that I am no longer counting myself out before it's over. No, 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 no. I'm putting in the effort and believing that I will succeed and success will come to me. And that will happen through my intentional energy, my intentional mindset, and my intentional alignment with the relationships and people around me. So if this season you're looking to be rebuilding yourself and growing into yourself, hit that subscribe button. Come along and we can build together. And don't forget, comment one word that you're claiming for 2026. Thanks for being here. See you next time.